A beautiful morning to you, my amazing students. How are you doing today? I want to believe you're fine and ready for the class. Please sit down quietly, pick up writing materials, and let's start the class. Today we'll be concluding our discussion on verbs. Last week we considered verbs, the definition, and some types. Today we are considering the concluding part. And so our learning objectives first is that you should be able to explain these types of verbs with examples. The transitive verbs, intransitive verbs, the finite verb, the infinite verb, regular verbs, and the irregular verbs. And lastly, number two, you should be able to identify them easily in sentences. You should be able to pinpoint them easily in sentences. And lastly, number three, you should be able to attempt correctly all questions. Get 10 over 10, 10 over 10 of all questions on this topic. Yes, last week I gave out this assignment. I said you should go home and pick the correct option for these questions. We have paid the money. This should be my answer. We have paid the money. Yes, I have bought my sister a watch. I have bought. Show me your hand. This is the answer. You have made your shirt dirty. We are waiting for Rohan. These books belong. She wants to go home. Then we will like to visit the zoo. Future tense, that's why we have will there. He has finished talking. And the last one, my brother enjoys playing cricket. This is a correction to last week's assignments. And let's do a brief revision of what we did last week. Last week we considered verbs, and I explained the two main types of verbs, which is the lexical verb, which I also refer to as a main verb. I told you they are action verbs. They connote real action. Then I explained also the auxiliary verbs, which I refer to as helping verbs. Helping verbs, and I said they work in two ways. We have the primary auxiliary verb, which are in three forms: the be verb, the have verb, and the do verb. And I illustrated them well with examples and sentence structure for each of them. Then later on, I went to the modal auxiliary verb, which I said dictates the mood of the verb, dictates how the verb happens, what is attached to the verb. And I told you that we have 9 of them, all listed here, and all were well used in sentence structures for you last week. So to the next thing for today now, let's move to today's content. Today we're considering these types of verbs. We have the transitive, the intransitive, the finite, the infinite, the regular, and the irregular. First to the transitive. When a verb is considered transitive, the verb takes a direct object. A direct object. Then what is a direct object? A direct object comes immediately after the verb. A direct object comes immediately after the verb. And you can see the direct object here, and here. And you can see the illustration attached to it. It is transitive because what? You can eat something. So it takes the verb there, takes direct objects. Loves also is transitive because you can love something, yes? And there's an object, there is a sufferer, somebody suffering the action coming after it. Now I told you that objects suffer the action of the verb. Then Lee bought dozens of cake. This is the direct object coming after this verb bought. Then to examples of transitive verbs, we have many of them as examples. You can see numerous examples we have here. You can always pause this video to jot some of them down or screenshot this page for future reference. Then let's see how they are used. See it here, direct. You can see it here. This is a verb, this is a direct object, this is a verb, and this is a direct object. Then to the intransitive verb now, when it is intransitive, it doesn't take a direct object. It doesn't take a direct object. Though there might be some elements after the verb. Yes, there might be some elements, some sentence elements after the verb, but they are not direct objects. They are not verb. They can be adjuncts. Yes, adjectives. They can be adjectives, and at times they can even be adverbs. Adverb. Here now, he laughed. He laughed there has no object after it, no element. He laughed. It's interesting because there's nothing you can laugh like act on. The verb cannot act on anything. You can't laugh something. Yes, you cannot. See it here. You can't laugh something. Then disappeared. This is not an object or the object. This is an adverbial, adverb of place, of time rather, of time. Disappeared when? After the party. So this is not the object, this is just an adjunct. Then works. You can't work something. Like it's here, you can't, it's intransitive, you can't work something. So this is just an adverb of time. For how long? For miles. A work for miles. So that something's behind them does not mean they are objects. No. They are at times adverbials or adjectivals. Then we have examples. All these verbs here they can't take any object. You can screenshot this also and try them on your own. If peradventure you can try anyone that takes an object, let me know and I'll give you a gift. Because I'm very sure none of this can take a direct object. Then let's see examples here. Hesitated. What I have here is not an object. Here also skies. This is the verb. This is not an object. NY, you know, beautifully, is an adverb. The baby is sleeping. No object. Blue verb. This is not an object. This is an adverb. How? Add. The spark plug fired. Verb, no object. The water is running. Verb, no object. Population grew. How? Rapidly. Anyhow. This is a verb that has no object. And let's go to the finite verb. The show tenses. Let me go straight to those points. The show tenses and number distinction. You'll see the line illustration in further slides. The show tenses and number distinctions. Number distinctions. In the sense that the verb is always in agreement with the subject. The verb sometimes in agreement with the subject. And like I said, the show tenses, this is present tense, is, past tense, painted. This is was in the singular form, agreeing with this, and it is past tense, showing tenses. Cooks, present tense, agreeing with the subject, cooks and John, singular. Then this is in the present tense form. Well, let's see examples here. Examples. So let's see more. Play, agreeing with this. Plays, singular, agreeing with this. Are playing, agreeing with this. Was playing, agreeing with this, singular. You can see their tenses and their forms in subjects. Plural verb, plural subjects. You can always go through this later. Go through later on your own. You can see singular subject, singular verb, and they also indicate tenses, like I said earlier. Then the non-finite. These don't show tenses. They do not show tenses, and they don't agree in number. They don't agree in number. They are mostly ing. They're mostly ing. And you can see them here. You can see them in the example. You see them here. I have this here, and here. Then you have this in three forms. We have the gerunds, which are ing nouns. Ing. We have the participle. They are ing verbs that will take helping verb, and at times ing, and ed. And the ing here will take helping verbs. Here they act as nouns. Here they act as verbs, but they take, like e.g., we have been cooking. We have been cooking. This as participle. This is coming as a gerund, as a noun. Then the infinitives. These are the to verbs, the to verbs. Then regular. When a verb is regular, the ed is formed in the simple way of adding. The past tense is formed in the simple way of adding ed or d. They form their past tense and past participle in this way, adding ed or d. That's why they are called regular verbs. And I have some rules. Look at these rules. Take time on your own to examine these rules by yourself, how they are formed. These rules. This is another rule. Look at them on your own. Pause the slide. Go through them on your own. Then we have the irregular, whose past tense are formed anyhow. Their past tense do not follow the general rule of using ed. They do not follow. E.g., this will not take ed. This no ed, no ed, no ed, and no ed here. Then we have examples of irregular verbs there. Diverse examples, numerous examples. So that none of these is taking past tense of ed or past participle of ed. Then, to my conclusion, I have explained this as ed, past tense and past participle, no ed. This has been explained before now. This, I said, takes what? Takes objects. This, no what? No objects. This shows what? Tenses. Shows tenses. This, no what? No tenses. Doesn't show tenses. Then, for study materials, you can lay your hands on any of these materials at later time and read more about verbs from them. Then, to my assignments, some verbs here have been underlined. So you indicate which of them is finite or non-finite. You do that for me against next class. You indicate which of them is finite or non-finite. And you can send all your answers to me using my email address at dapo.orimoloye@greenland.org. Thank you for listening to me. God bless you. Keep be smart. I love you all.